What happens when America's super soldier meets Wakanda's warrior king in Nazi-occupied Paris? Marvel 1943 isn't just another superhero game. It's the untold story of how Captain America and Black Panther first joined forces to prevent Hydra from unleashing a weapon that could have changed the course of history. After 5 years in development, Amy Hennig's vision is finally coming to life, and what I've seen so far suggests that this might be the Marvel game that we have been waiting for.
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
Let's address the elephant in the room right away. Yes, this game has been in development for over 5 years. Usually, that is a red flag. But here's the thing. Every time Skydance has shown more of the game, it's looked better and better. They're not just polishing graphics or fixing bugs, they are fundamentally rethinking how a Marvel story should be told through gameplay. The development team at Skydance New Media, led by Amy Hennig, the genius behind the Uncharted series, has been working on this since 2019. That's a massive development cycle, making this possibly the most carefully crafted Marvel game ever. And it shows. This isn't just another licensed cash grab, it's a passion project from some of the best storytellers in the industry. What makes this so different? Well, for the first time in recent Marvel gaming history, we're getting a game that's built exclusively for current-gen hardware. No compromises for PS4 or Xbox One. This means they can push the technology in ways that weren't possible before. We're talking about dynamic lighting that actually affects gameplay, physics-based combat that feels weighted and real, and an open world that is more alive than anything we've ever seen in a Marvel game. But the real game changer here is how they're approaching player choice. Instead of trying to make one style of gameplay that pleases everyone, they're giving us 4 distinct characters with completely different playstyles. And I mean completely different. This isn't like Marvel Avengers, where everyone felt like slight variations on the same basic template. This is like having 4 different games in one. The timing couldn't be better either. With Black Panther 2 showing there is a huge appetite for Wakandan stories, and the success of Captain America Brave New World proving that fans still love World War II era adventures, Rise of Hydra is positioned to deliver both. And it's doing it at a setting that Marvel fans have been requesting for literal decades. The first meeting between Captain America and Black Panther. The game draws inspiration from the 2010 comic series Captain America/Black Panther Flags of Our Fathers, but it's not a direct adaptation. Amy Hennig and co-writer Mark Bernardin have crafted an original story that explores the first meeting between Steve Rogers and Azuri in Nazi-occupied Paris. It's a setting ripe with dramatic potential. 2 heroes from radically different backgrounds, united against a common enemy, but with their own agendas and worldviews. First, we have Steve Rogers, Captain America. However, this isn't the confident leader we're familiar with from modern Marvel stories. This is Steve early in his career as Captain America, still figuring out what it means to be the symbol of a nation at war. The gameplay footage shows a fighting style that emphasizes his tactical mind and the versatility of his shield, allowing players to bounce it off of multiple surfaces and enemies in a satisfying display of superhero physics. Then there's Azuri, the Black Panther of the 1940s, and T'Challa's grandfather. This is a character rarely explored, even in the comics, giving the developers tremendous creative freedom. From what we've seen, Azuri's gameplay focuses on speed, agility, and the lethal precision of his vibranium claws. While Cap might charge into a fight head-on, Azuri can stick to the shadows, striking from the darkness before enemies even know he's there. But Marvel 1943 goes beyond the expected by making 2 additional characters playable: Gabriel Jones and the Howling Commandos, played by Mark K. Richardson, and Nanali, the leader of the Wakandan spy network, played by Megalon Echikunwoke. Gabriel Jones represents the ordinary soldier, fighting alongside these superpowered individuals. Without superhuman abilities, his gameplay appears to focus on resourcefulness, using whatever weapons are available and relying on smart positioning rather than strength. His perspective allows the game to address the reality of being a Black American soldier in the 1940s, adding historical depth to the narrative. Nanali, meanwhile, brings the espionage aspect to the forefront. As the leader of Wakanda's spy network and Azuri's wife in the comics, she has access to advanced Wakandan technology that would seem almost magical in 1943 Europe. Her gameplay sections look to focus on gathering intelligence, sabotage, and using Wakandan tech to overcome obstacles that would be impossible for others. What's fascinating about this 4-character approach is how it allows the game to tell its story from multiple perspectives. Each character brings their own cultural background, fighting style, and viewpoint on the war and Hydra's rising threat. This isn't just about variety in gameplay, it's about enriching the narrative by showing how these different heroes perceive and react to the same events.
By the look of things, he's not very far ahead.
The American boy is right on your heels.
The setting of Marvel 1943 deserves special attention. While the comic that inspired the game was set in Wakanda, Skydance has moved the action to occupied Paris. This change opens up rich storytelling possibilities that wouldn't be possible in Wakanda. Paris in 1943 was a city of contradictions, beautiful architecture, and under the shadow of Nazi flags, a proud cultural heritage suppressed by occupation, resistance fighters operating in secret while collaborators worked openly with the enemy. The occupation creates a unique gameplay environment where enemies aren't just random bad guys, they're an occupying force controlling a subjugated city. This means civilian NPCs react differently to Captain America than to Black Panther, and differently still when Hydra forces are nearby versus when they are alone. The Paris we see in the game is a living environment where your actions have consequences on the civilian population and the resistant movement. What makes this setting particularly compelling for a Marvel story is how it grounds these larger-than-life characters. Captain America can't simply punch his way through every problem when innocent civilians might suffer reprisals. Black Panther can't operate openly without raising questions about who this mysterious African warrior is. The setting forces our heroes to be strategic, thoughtful, and aware of the broader implications of their actions.
I'm more concerned with the 6-foot cat man who's got claws that can cut through vibranium alloy.
Now, let's talk about our villains. As the title suggests, Marvel 1943 focuses on the rise of Hydra as an organization. While Hydra has been a staple of Marvel storytelling for decades, this game offers us a look at its formative years, the transition from Nazi science division to the independent terrorist organization we know from later stories. At the center of this all is Red Skull, Hydra's founder and Captain America's arch-nemesis. The game appears to show Red Skull in his prime, before decades of defeats at the hands of various heroes. He's brilliant, ruthless, and utterly convinced of his own superiority, the perfect villain for a story set in this era. But Red Skull isn't working alone. The game is likely to feature several key Hydra figures from the comics, including Baron Wolfgang von Strucker, one of the organization's most important early leaders. Arnim Zola, the scientific genius who would later transfer his consciousness into a computer, also appears to play a significant role. Baron Heinrich Zemo, another Nazi scientist who would become a major Captain America villain, is likely to appear as well. But what sets these villains apart from typical video game antagonists is their historical context. These aren't aliens or interdimensional beings, they're humans, whose evil is rooted in real historical atrocities. This grounds the conflict in a way that many superhero stories avoid, giving weight to our heroes' struggle against them. The Eye of Storms artifact mentioned in the trailer appears to drive the plot forward. While we don't know exactly what this artifact does, it's clearly powerful enough that both Hydra and Wakanda are interested in it. Given Hydra's history with supernatural artifacts in the comics and MCU, it's likely something that could turn the tide of the war if harnessed properly.
The Eye of Force has been found.
What we've seen of the gameplay suggests a thoughtful approach to superhero action. Rather than trying to make character play similar for the sake of simplicity, each hero has distinct abilities and movement styles that reflect their comic book counterparts. Captain America's combat revolves around his shield, which can be used defensively to block attacks or offensively as a projectile weapon. The physics system allows for creative shield throws that bounce off multiple surfaces before returning to Steve's hand. His military training is evident in his hand-to-hand combat style, which emphasizes efficient strikes and grappling techniques rather than flashy moves. Black Panther's gameplay focuses on agility and stealth. Azuri can scale walls, leap across rooftops, and strike from the shadows. His vibranium claws allow him to slice through obstacles and enemies with equal ease. The footage suggests that he has enhanced senses that can be used to track enemies and identify threats, similar to the heart-shaped herb abilities seen in the films. Gabriel Jones brings a more grounded military approach to combat. Without superpowers, he relies on firearms, explosives, and cover-based shooting mechanics. His missions appear to focus on supporting the hero characters by eliminating key targets or securing important positions. Denali's gameplay seems to emphasize espionage and Wakandan technology. She can infiltrate enemy facilities, gather intelligence, and use advanced tech to overcome security systems. Her sections look to provide a change of pace from the more action-oriented gameplay of the other characters. The game also appears to feature sections where players can switch between characters on the fly, creating opportunities for cooperative attacks and environmental puzzles that require multiple heroes' abilities to solve.
It's better if I tackle this one alone.
Now, as we approach the holiday 2025 release window, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra represents more than just another superhero game. It marks a potential turning point for how Marvel stories are told in an interactive medium. For too long, Marvel games have either been risk-averse licensed products tied to film releases or attempts to replicate the success of other games with Marvel characters swapped in. Marvel 1943 takes a different approach. It identifies a compelling, unexplored corner of Marvel's vast universe and builds a focused experience around it. The game demonstrates confidence in its storytelling by choosing a specific historical period rather than a vague comic book world. It shows respect for its characters by giving each one distinct abilities and perspectives rather than homogenizing them for gameplay convenience. And it honors its players by creating a single-player narrative experience rather than chasing multiplayer trends or live service models. If successful, Marvel 1943 could pave the way for more thoughtful, historically grounded superhero games that explore different eras and characters from Marvel's rich history. I mean, imagine a game set during the Cold War featuring Black Widow and Winter Soldier, or a 1970s story following Luke Cage and Iron Fist in a meticulously recreated New York City. But hey, that's just my take based on what we know so far. Drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. Are you excited for Rise of Hydra? Which character are you planning to play as first, and what villain are you most looking forward to facing? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.